Putting the lens on Grenada, its people, and its possibilities. This is State of Affairs. Reporting this week, I am Abigail McIntyre. Grenada is open for business. The tourism sector is on the rebound. Find out what measures are in place to protect lives and livelihoods. Hotels are reopening after months of inactivity due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The hospitality sector is looking forward to welcoming guests again. Here are their plans. And a look back on what has been happening locally to keep the tourism industry afloat. Businesses are boasting of the love from locals. More details when we come back.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. Grenada's tourism industry is open for business. The month of October saw the return of international flights, reopening of hotels, and adjustments to travel protocols to ensure the health and safety of both locals and visitors alike. In this report, we learn about the state of the tourism industry, the reasons for reopening, and the outlook for the sector going forward.
We are open for business, and we continue to work with the Ministry of Health to ensure that our requirements protect our citizens, but still attract visitors.
These were the words that sounded the call for the reopening of Grenada's tourism sector after about 8 months of inactivity due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a long road getting to this point, and the country now stands at a critical juncture in the tourism industry and its future. The sector was one of the hardest hit during the pandemic. Border closures and travel restrictions meant empty beaches and unbooked rooms, job losses and economic fallouts. Over 4,000 people have been negatively impacted.
This industry is very important, and we learned how important it is, the extent to which it went when persons were on lockdown and visitors could not come to our shores. We saw a significant drop in the revenues going into the consolidated fund, and therefore it has restricted government's abilities to do certain things. And of course, for the individual who had a job in December, January, and maybe a little part of February, and suddenly found that they didn't have a job, and for the hotel owner who wasn't generating any monies, could not pay workers, and had to still maintain the plant in the hotels, it became a major problem.
The year 2020 began with high hopes that after 2 consecutive years recording 500,000 visitors to our shores in 2018 and 2019, government had high expectations for this year.
While we were COVID-free, other countries had COVID, and these are our source markets where people were coming from. So even though our doors were open, there were a number of cancellations. So it started maybe as early as January to have negative impact on us. And of course, with the closure of our borders and the closure of other borders, with nothing happening, pretty much we were at zero or even less than zero, we were sub-zero because persons were not generating income, but they were losing income.
The fact is, COVID won't be going anywhere anytime soon, and we must all learn how to live our lives under these new conditions. In the same way, the tourism industry, like many others, are making the turnaround to return to some sort of new normalcy, putting people back to work and stirring economic activity. To get to that point, however, the Ministries of Tourism and Health, the Grenada Tourism Authority, and the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association joined efforts for recovery. In a step-by-step process, the team firstly developed protocols for reopening subsectors, conducted health and safety training for over 2,000 stakeholders in the industry, then the process of inspection and certification for accommodation and tourism services sector. The climb to recovery is slow and steady, just the way the tourism minister prefers it.
We are happy to see our airline partners returning to our shores. Caribbean Airlines, Inter-Caribbean, and One Caribbean are flying steadily from the Barbados hub. Air Canada is carded to resume flights in October. The sector must regain its role as an economic pillar, providing jobs and opportunity for many, especially women and youth. Our communities are replete with natural and cultural assets that we can maximize. Community tourism has the potential to develop these assets, and now more than ever, visitors are looking for unique experiences they cannot find in other countries.
Learning from the experiences of other regional islands, Dr. Modeste Kerwin is hoping to pattern after St. Lucia, who saw thousands of visitors since reopening in July this year. The tourism minister believes there is now hope as the industry continue to explore the future of tourism and make adjustments on the road to recovery.
The difference is now that we have hope. We have flights coming in, and we have flights that have expressed an interest in coming in, and we're engaging them with that. And so with a number of the hotels getting ready to open throughout this month and next month, I think it is looking much, much better for us as we look at hotels that were under construction, for example, Kimpton Kewana Bay Resort. In terms of more hotels developing our room stock, I think there is hope now, so that even if persons do not get back their jobs immediately, they can have the hope that in a matter of time, maybe by December, early next year, we will see a turnaround. We do not expect it to go back to pre-COVID times immediately. It's probably going to be another 2 years before we get there. But the fact is that we have started. It makes a lot of difference to us and to this industry. And the fact is that our government is committing to giving the support, and that the Ministry of Tourism and GTA, and of course, environment and climate change, our climate resilience, I believe we are well placed.
Grenada is a long way from seeing its pre-COVID numbers in tourist arrivals, but government is committed to working with all its partners to protect the solid foundation built in the industry as they forge ahead in this new era. For State of Affairs, I am Abigail McIntyre. These are the images from across Grenada. This is State of Affairs. More stories from the heartland after this.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy.
To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%.
70% is ideal. When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. Our health is our collective responsibility.
The tourism industry was one of the hardest hit by COVID-19 pandemic. Thousands of people were left without jobs and many businesses were left in a tailspin, grappling with the effects of loss of income. Now the tides are slowly turning and Grenada has opened its borders to visitors again. In this Rakisha St. Louis report, hoteliers speak of their experiences over the last 8 months and their expectations now that business is back.
The tourism industry is gaining momentum as several hotels move to reopen their doors, welcoming visitors and maintain the strict COVID-19 protocols outlined by the Ministry of Health officials. For months, the tourism sector remained closed as the country grappled with the harsh effects of the novel coronavirus. Gradually, things began to change. The government adopted a phased approach to the reopening of the borders, schools, and the tourism industry. Government also included the hotel industry in its COVID-19 stimulus package, where thousands of dollars were paid to hotel workers who were sent home due to the closure of the sector. Hoteliers and tourism officials all agree that 2020 was marked on the calendar as the best year the industry would have experienced. Well, until February 2020 when things began taking a turn for the worse.
Before COVID, the hotel sector, we were looking for a wonderful year. We anticipated great numbers with new hotels coming on stream. The outlook was quite positive and one of the best ever. So, we were looking ahead with a positive view, and once COVID hit, it became extremely challenging all at once.
Before COVID, we had expected our best year ever. We were really on a high. We had almost too much demand for Calabash, and we were really looking at some really great figures. So to lose that at all of a sudden was very, very heartbreaking. So and the outlook now is, although it is better than it was, it's still rather bleak. We're only expecting 40% of what we normally have for these last 2 months of the year, so November and December.
Immediately, hoteliers had to act swiftly to devise a plan that saw hundreds of employees being sent home and the doors of each hotel closed, all in the interest of protecting lives and livelihood. Although closing the borders and ports dealt a significant blow to the industry's revenue flow and a drop to zero in occupancy, the management at Calabash Hotel commended the government for taking immediate steps to close the borders when they did.
We went from 80-90% occupancy to zero, shutting the hotel gates within a week. I had to stand up in front of 150 members of our staff and tell them that all of a sudden they were going to go home, and I didn't know how long they were going to go home for. And that was the most difficult area for us, because I really was concerned for the future of tourism in Grenada and for the members of staff that we had. That was my major worry. What the government did to close down the country in March and April was the wise thing to do then, and I know that the Caribbean governments have all been commended globally for their action that they've taken to protect us as a people. So that was really, really wise of them to do that. And then we've reopened in a very smart way as well, in a way that will protect the community but allow tourism to restart. So I can only say that it was very difficult, but a lot of positive things came out of it.
Training began virtually and on small scales in sanitization and other health protocols outlined by health officials in preparation for the reopening of the industry. Hoteliers also used this downtime to adopt new online marketing strategies to keep guests and prospective guests aware of what was being done locally to ensure that they will be protected and that each hotel brand was COVID ready.
So we've already been in COVID training. We have our portal online, Sandals Corporate University. So every single team member has a profile on Sandals Corporate University, and we've all been required to do about 8 courses. Every segment has different protocols. So housekeeping would obviously be different to the training that's given to the photographers, or different to the restaurant servers and bartenders. So it's all department specific. Each department has their own SRI approved COVID protocols for their department. So we're training and retraining. We have orientation before we even get back on the floor, pre-opening orientation and retraining.
Social media came very important to us during the lockdown time, because that's our only really truly free way of marketing. We've also built up a large database of our past guests, so we did use that to keep in contact, sending them video updates from the hotel, just to sort of let them all know how we're doing and getting through this. But one of the major pieces of information that we have used to promote the hotel and the destination of Grenada is the safety aspect. How well managed the cases in Grenada, the fact that we currently only have one now, but for many months none. So that's been really attractive. At Calabash, we have a lot of space here. We only have 30 suites and 27 acres. So we've just got a lot of space for people to keep away from each other. So that's how we're promoting the Calabash now and Grenada.
One major marketing strategy has been about focusing on our protocols, our sanitation protocols. The fact that we have spent a lot of this time training our staff, training managers on how to be COVID ready. So a huge strategy has been to show visitors just how prepared we are and how we plan to keep visitors safe while they're here on the island. Another marketing strategy has been doing virtual tours of their hotels, doing balcony concerts where they can safely entertain guests while practicing social distancing.
Hotels are slowly reopening their doors to welcome visitors from regional and international communities as the country tries to return to a state of normalcy. Sandals Grenada reopened on October 1st and Calabash Luxury Boutique Hotel opened on October 14th. Each of these hotels had specific plans highlighting how they will implement measures to protect staff and visitors. For Sandals Resort and Spa, its Premium Platinum Protocol guarantees protection for both guests and staff. These said protocols have seen the reopening of other brands in the region.
These protocols have been developed with guidance from the Center for Disease Control, the World Health Organization, and also PAHO. They're comprehensive, and most importantly, they work. Sandals Grand Antigua was the first resort to open on June the 4th, followed by the reopening of resorts in Jamaica and St. Lucia and Barbados, all of which to date have reported 0 cases of coronavirus incidents for both guests and team members.
Every one of our guests that will arrive here on October 1st will be checked in online and will go straight to the room. And we said, what happens in the room next? So we went through a very stringent program, and we've just come out of International Housekeeping Week. For those in the hotel industry, you'll be aware of it, which our housekeepers are becoming the most significant part of this protocol. Because this 18 touch point that you're seeing on this video is real. It's what they're managing every single day of life. So we're going through the chemicals that we've reviewed, what they're doing in the room. We've brought the foggers, the rooms are being fogged, and we're actually going to a stage where we're changing every soft furnishing in our guest room every single day. It's kind of seeming strange, and if you're in the hospitality business, you're going to say you're doing it once or twice a week. We did it twice. We did it every second day. Now we're going to do it every day. So everything comes off the bed, every pillowcase, every sheet comes off the bed, every duvet comes off the bed, every towel comes off the bed, out of the bathroom, and it's completely changed.
In the rooms, we have different what you call touch points. So we have in the living room area, that's where you are, we have 12 touch points. So instead of we just, you're not cleaning as before, there are certain areas that the housekeeper must touch, the room attendant, sorry, must touch before she leaves that room, he or she leaves the room. So in the living room area, including the patio, we have 12 touch points that must be attended to. We have also in the bathroom area, they have 9 touch points that must be touched. All right. We also, as a new protocol, we are equipped with UV lights and so, and just to ensure that we are following standards and making sure that guests feel comfortable, that they are in a clean, safe room. Linens are changed daily. The bedspreads are changed daily. Pillowcases, everything is changed daily.
The Calabash Hotel continues on its path to maintain a clean, healthy experience for staff and visitors.
We have rules in place, like, for example, we are taking temperatures of all the staff arriving and everybody arriving at the hotel. Actually, we have all of the common areas. We are cleaning them every half an hour. Impressing upon the importance of washing hands, wearing masks. We do have a lot of PPE here, so our staff are properly kitted out in that aspect. We are spacing out tables at the restaurants. We have different sections for locals coming into the restaurants and our tourists, which are small numbers at the moment, so we are very confident that we can keep them very separate. We have, machinery to clean the rooms, such as disinfecting foggers and UV wands. So we've sort of upped the thoroughness of our cleaning schedule.
Government and health officials are convinced that COVID-19 is the new normal. Social distancing, wearing of masks, and sanitizing of hands and environment. Hence, measures are being implemented, heavy investments are being made to ensure that everyone is educated and protected during this global pandemic. Moving forward, hoteliers are cautiously optimistic that the numbers will improve, flights will increase and not cancel, and that the outlook for the rest of 2020 into 2021 will reclaim positivity.
The reason for that is that we are hoping very much that we did see an uptick in bookings when the new protocols for arrival were released, the 4-day quarantine. So I think that suits people a little bit better. Our guests at Calabash, a lot of them come to the hotel and they stay for 14 nights. They don't leave. So that actually has little impact on the majority of our guests anyway. So they can stay within the hotel bubble regardless. But it is getting better. People are getting used to traveling again. The airlines are offering services like pre-testing before getting on the flight, which is helping things. So I do expect 2021 to continue to get better as the uncertainty sort of erases.
We can say, okay, many people are looking to the Caribbean. Many people are looking to Grenada, because of our, right now we're ranked as one of the countries in the world, a safe place to travel to, according to the CDC. I know currently that many airlines like American Airlines and JetBlue are changing their routes from, traveling within the US and moving their fleet to the Caribbean right now. That would help us somewhat, but then we also have to watch and wait to see, what countries in the world are spiking, in terms of a possible second wave. So yes, I think the best way to answer that question is to say that we are cautiously optimistic, that maybe our numbers will increase little by little, but it will be a slow increase.
Hoteliers and tourism officials are all enthusiastic that the dark cloud that lurks over the sector will soon fade away, and Grenada will return to being the busy destination of choice for visitors worldwide. For State of Affairs, I am Rikisha St. Louis.
This is the Grenadian reality. This is our current state of affairs. These are the images from across Grenada. This is State of Affairs. More stories from the heartland after this. In the absence of visitors coming into the island, locals are encouraged to be explorers in their own country. A campaign by the Grenada Tourism Authority called Paradise at Home brought back business to many who were struggling to stay afloat. Take a look at the effects of a strategy that brought hope to many local businesses. March 16, 2020, life as we knew it changed when Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell announced the shutting down of certain sectors, including the education sector. Subsequently, the first COVID-19 case was announced and the country went under total lockdown. This meant the halting of all forms of business, closed borders and inactivity in the tourism sector. It was a tough time for hoteliers.
Really, our revenues are down 70% from where they were this time last year. We haven't got as many staff as we had this time last year. We had to lay off some staff. We've kept that to a minimum. All the staff that have been with us for more than 2 years are still with us, and we're trying to keep everybody employed. But these are particularly tough times for the hospitality sector.
Well, pre-COVID, we were really proud of taking so many guests to so many parishes and visiting so many vendors. We have a lot of vendors who really depended on us for an income, and so we're really happy that we were able to bring so many guests to them. So that was a huge selling point for us. It was a real point of pride for us that we were not employing so many people, but bringing business to so many people. And I think that was our biggest concern during COVID. What are these people going to do now? Because we knew how much they depended on us and we knew how much business we were bringing to them. And most of the vendors we went to, they were the breadwinners for their families, because we actively sought out young people starting up businesses who would need that extra income, that extra push to get their businesses off the ground. And so knowing that, and knowing that we weren't going to them and the other guests, the other tour operators weren't going to them, it was really frightening.
Recognizing the position of companies in this sector because of the pandemic, the Grenada Tourism Authority began shifting gears to refocus the industry. Protocols were developed for the 6 subsectors geared at creating a new way of doing business. They are accommodation, food and beverage, water sports, attractions, tourism services, and transportation. Added to that, over 2,000 employees in the industry were trained in health and safety. Then came the launch of a campaign that turned things around for many struggling businesses. It's called Paradise at Home.
What it is just jump-starting local tourism, which is very, very important. And local tourism is what is keeping some of our stakeholders alive in terms of business. So we just wanted to boost local tourism and tell people you don't have to travel to get a wonderful experience. Right here we have 3 islands. We have amazing stakeholders who offer wonderful experiences, and to top it all off, they were offering deals for Grenadian families, for couples, for singles, whatever it is that you wanted. You should find a deal for you.
Since the launch of the Paradise at Home campaign, it has taken momentum and became a movement on its own.
As we see on social media, people have been posting about going out and experience, everything that is happening in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And recently, our team went up to Carriacou and they got reviews saying that, in more than a decade, that's the most people they've seen coming to Carriacou. And one of the stakeholders expressed that this is what is keeping her business alive. People coming from the mainland to Carriacou, and also the yachties. So we were very, very happy to hear that Paradise at Home
is working, is doing what we wanted to do for the stakeholders.
Local businesses in the sector have been lauding the GTA for a well-thought-out campaign, as it was a much-needed boost for the sector.
So we were already on board. So as soon as they started promoting it, we were there. You know, as Marie's been saying, you know, we have the balcony concerts, we have the day passes, we have the specials for locals to stay here. So we were right on board, and we really, as I said before, we really enjoy having the locals stay with us. And I think they like the break from the routine. So we support the GTA's initiative. It's a great initiative, and I think a lot of other hotels have benefited from that as well.
It's going to be tough, but we're going to do it. You have to. You don't really have a choice. You have to keep moving. And the GTA really has pushed forward with this the Paradise at Home. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. People will call to make a booking. I see Paradise at Home. Like, what can we do? What do you offer? What's your special now? So it's really good. It's been really, really good. Of course. Listen, there's no part of me that does not want to be a big part of the GTA, because the GTA it's the driving force behind our tourism industry, you know. So they put out really, really good specials. They put out really, really good campaigns, and I love to be part of all of their campaigns. I get a lot of business because of the GTA, and I know most of my colleagues do as well, if not all of them. So it's good, and you can always turn to them when you need anything. They're really good at giving us a lot of really good advice. So I don't know, I leaned hard on them.
I think that it's something good, because me myself, I don't know all of Grenada. And you know, St. Mark's often seen as a forgotten parish, and then we out there discovering and rediscovering the gems of St. Mark's. So like when you get people from all over the island to come to one area to experience what we have there, you know, it's something good. Like, get to learn more about your country, because for example, most people don't even know about Tufton Hall Waterfalls. All right, so you know, you get to experience your country, not someone else from another country telling you about what your country has to offer.
They are all extremely appreciative to the Grenadian public for supporting the local businesses. While visitors were not coming in, it was locals that kept many companies afloat, kept workers employed, and food on the tables for many families.
It's been really good. It's been really, really good. Because we are kind of getting, I don't know, a bit of cabin fever. Nobody can leave the island. Nobody can really go anywhere. We've been getting a lot of local guests coming in and just looking for things to do, looking for something new, looking to keep their kids entertained, looking to keep themselves entertained, you know, because we're very restricted now in travel. So it's kind of forcing us to look and see what there is to do at home. So it's been really good for us. It's been really, really good, and I'm really proud of the GTA for it, because I think now that people know that there's so much to do at home, they're going to be more inclined to vacation at home rather than every long weekend or every holiday that comes about, they fly out on the first plane. People are going to be more inclined to stay home now on holiday. There's a lot to do here.
I'm not complaining at all from the response we get from the Grenadian public. So like since the lockdown had eased up to this point, we had conducted over 30 different tours with just Grenadian locals. And like last Sunday gone, we had a tour with some staff from Fielden. That was the last one we did. And like for the other weekends coming up, we are booked with tours, with real Grenadian taxi and tours. We have hiking to do with them. We also have something doing next week with Shai's Bar promotion, where we do invite the Grenadian public to come out and hike with us. And then after, we have a get together at Shai's Bar. So we have a lot of activities coming on stream.
The local community have been so supportive of us. We've had endless requests for day passes, night stays. So thankfully, the Grenadian public and the locals have been very good to us here at True Blue Bay Resort, and we're very grateful for that during these times. It's kept the staff employed, it's kept the operations running, and overall it's just been a really helpful market to have, the local market.
It's no secret Grenada has some of the most scenic, breathtaking views in the region, and there is so much to do to keep families and individuals entertained. The COVID-19 pandemic has many negative impacts, but on the flip side, it has forced the entrepreneurial spirit of many to soar as new businesses have surfaced, offering unique and affordable experiences, whether through food or adventures.
Local tourism is so important. I cannot stress enough how important local tourism is. And we saw when our borders were closed, it was our locals that were going out into our restaurants, into our accommodation, going out on tours. And so they were the ones that were keeping the tourism industry alive. And we want to keep Paradise at Home alive and keep it going and have that relationship, building that relationship, because it is indeed so important.
So go out and be a tourist in your own country, see the many places and enjoy the experiences that the island has to offer.
Paradise is at home. Paradise is at home.
And that's our picture this week from the home front. That's the current state of affairs. As we speak, our reporters and producers are gathering more stories from across Grenada as we prepare to tell them. I am Abigail McIntyre.